3 left. Myers has it. He blows right by. Gets to the three-point line. Gives it off to Miguel Arnold. Rises and fires. Miguel!
Welcome to the Dip Mitras Show. This is a neat episode because it's the last veteran player being a guest. David Viti, special guest, transferred from Georgia Southern 2 years ago. And like I said, we've had all the returning players on the show, and we've got him here today. But first, let's introduce our star, Dip Mitras. Over 500 wins in his career, 19 years as a head coach in Augusta. He's won more than 73% of his games here in Augusta. Led us to the national championship game last season, Peach Belt champs. Southeast region champs. Coach, we're coming off a big road win. Team's 15-1, ranked 9th in the country. By the time this comes out, probably ranked even higher.
It looked like a couple people lost ahead of us, so it'll be out this afternoon. We'll move up the rankings. And we had a good road win at Columbus, a very odd game, but it was able to come out with definitely a place where we have not played well in the past as a team, okay? And it was good to get a win.
Good point. Lost at Columbus, first loss of the season last year. Why do you call it an odd win?
We got to a great start, 8-0. Then we got a little jump shot happy. And then we could not guard them in transition. They just took the ball and just went end to end with it. And then the second half, obviously Tyshawn got in foul trouble. We went our small lineup with our guest here, and him and Kirby playing at the 4 and 5, helped our defense. And the weird thing is, toward the end, like we would throw a zone, they would take a bad shot, they get off its rebound, or they bank one in. So everything we kind of threw at them, it seemed it didn't work, but we were able to make our free throws down the stretch, and like I said, get a good win in a place where our returning guys and even V lost last year. And there weren't many places we did, and it was good to get one down there.
You mentioned our guest, and you mentioned his role in when you went small. And Tyshawn Crawford, the big 7'1" center, player of the year candidate, had to go to the bench with foul trouble. David's role in going small, made a couple big free throws in the prior game to ice the win over Lambert. And so it kind of highlights David's versatility, all the different ways he helps you win. I can think of the free throws, the being able to guard multiple positions, did that against Columbus State, big shots. He's a versatile player.
He is. And, after that game, I think they all run together. He did not make a shot against Columbus, but he played a lot of minutes. And I told him the other day in practice, he played really well. He was the low help guy twice on drives, the stuff I noticed. At Catawba game, he drew a big charge late in the game to help us win the game. His shot making is something he does. We know that. But his versatility defensively, we tell him to crowd the ball. He's up there able to guard the ball a little bit later with the right matchups. And he's been very good for us this year because he's not just a shooter, and he's shown his athleticism. Some dunks we don't see anymore, but he's really done a great job for us, and he's an important part of our success the last 2 years.
We're going to watch David in a second here. Before we go to that and come right back to you, David, Dip mentioned the dunks that we don't see. Are you ever going to be able to forgive HBCU League Pass and Benedict for losing that dunk to the ether at Benedict?
Listen, I think it's one of those that's like, one day, Carson, my roommate, we were talking about this. He'll come up, talk to my kids like, "Hey, remember Viti? Your dad, he put on a show, man. He dunked on some guy." And, my kids are going to be like, "Yeah, whatever. There's no film of it, But we were talking in the car. Yeah. It's like a 100-point game, Like, yeah, some people said that he scored 100 points, but there's no, proof of it or anything.
Yeah,
So,
I remember the play because the referee's in front of me, and I said, "Did he just dunk that?" I remember saying that because I couldn't see it because it was right in front of our bench. I go, "Did he just dunk that?" And one of Miguel is like, "Oh, it was one of the best dunks I've ever seen," So I didn't even see it, So I'm not sure the coaches saw it. Yeah, it's like Wilt's 100 points or anything else out there.
I saw it on the broadcast, and I have to screen record to catch those highlights. It's a lot of broadcasts you can go back and catch it if you missed it. And when I wasn't screen recording when that dunk happened, I was like, I hope they have rewind, and I found out they didn't. And then I found out it wasn't even uploaded to Synergy. Just one of the kind of the most disappointing part of the season so far. But one thing you mentioned about talking to your kids one day. I think one thing we can definitely get done is we can build the legend that dunk was more impressive than anything Jaquez Kirby Jaquez Kirby could ever do, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a look at David. You'll see some plays up here that Coach Mitras kind of referenced when he was talking about David a second ago.
And it stands at just 8 right now. Side, and you get a call. It's unbalanced. That three-pointer from Viti. Kirby drives, pulls it back out for Viti.
So you mentioned that charge against Catawba was on your wavelength.
Yeah, huge. It was late in the game, and we call it the low spot, and he's one of our better guys of getting there. And that was a big, big play. We don't win that game without him drawing that charge. And even Newberry, he really got it going there. And I forgot about those makes against Newberry. He really kind of jump-started us in that game. So, he's done a great job with us, and we'll continue to lean on him for success.
David, you're when you came, when I was told about you, they said, hey, he's a stretch 4. And then you mentioned right before we started taping playing the 4 at Georgia Southern. So that's always been your role?
Yeah. So, at Georgia Southern, we had we had one of the best players that's ever played there, Ike Smith. And he stayed an extra year. And so it kind of
shoots the ball way above his head, right?
Shoots his ball way back here, catapult. But, that kind of almost took away a role for me that I was, trying to get.
Sure.
But, he taught me a lot about guarding the ball and scouting report and all that kind of stuff because he wasn't the quickest or the fastest dude. And so, playing behind him, Isaiah Crawley at Georgia Southern, both the guys that are now playing professionally, kind of taught me a lot about the position and stuff like that. And, he talks about how I have to play the 5 and the 3 and basically everywhere. Yep. So, I kind of want to be versatile and stuff like that. And, I'm always working on my quickness and stuff like that because that's so important to the position, being able to guard everywhere.
That's a good point. Because when Kirby was out, he was playing almost all 4. And then when Kirby came back, he went back to playing the 3. And then we stuck him at the 5. I said, just go stand down there and not be tight, Sean, because of foul trouble. And Timmy's knee had an issue the other night. So, he's been able to survive. That's not easy to do. He's got good basketball intellect, and sometimes he forgets the plays, but he's one of the few guys that has to play 3 different positions.
That's what that's where that versatility word popped into my head earlier when I was getting ready, because he's really not a stretch 4. He's a 5'4" and a 3, plays every position but primary ball handler. And so David, I think you're the only guy on the team. I think Tyree maybe can do it too. Only guy on the team besides Miguel who can come off screens and get their feet set going both ways. We saw it a little bit in the clips, but I don't think last season either it wasn't your role or you weren't asked to do that. Yeah. Has that been something you've worked on, shooting the ball off screens, making those big threes?
Yeah, the entire fall was just me and Miguel in the gym doing that, with Zach, but. That was Troy's role last year,
right?
And so Troy's going to take the majority of those shots, and I knew my role last year, and, it's the same thing this year. I got to know my role, and, if I'm coming off a floppy set or something like that, and trying to get a shot up, now I have to do that where last year it was Troy. So, we work on it literally every single day in the shooting drills, and then the whole off season, me and Miguel were in the gym, working on those shots.
He had a big, we were talking about the way down. He had a big screen in the Columbus game. Weird things I noticed, that he got Miguel open. They switched a lot of down screens, and the ball was moving. He screened down for Miguel, and that was a huge bucket to get it. Viti was able to set that. He's a really good teammate on the floor, and when he doesn't play well, doesn't shoot well, just focus being a good teammate. And he's done a great job of that this year and be able to go to the next play.
We're going to put that play in when you said he had a big screen in the Columbus game. We're going to put that play in after the fact because I remember that play. You set a screen for Tyree, and I think the term is he rejected it, or he kind of came out of it. And then did he give you a little hey, go screen for Miguel, or is that part of what you do out of that anyway?
No, so that's one of our plays that we run usually with Timmy at the 5 because Timmy's a good pick and roll guy, and we try to get Miguel lifting up for a 3. And in the timeout, he called it, and Miguel came up to me as soon as we broke it down and was like, hey, after you set the screen for Tyreek, come get me. because they weren't switching
The 5.
off Nelson, right? And I was at the 5. And so he knew that I was going to hit somebody, right? And so he knew Nelson wasn't going to switch and we'd get a wide open shot. So that was literally just on the fly. Miguel came to me and he was like, come get me after you set that. So, that was all Miguel.
Oh, well, it was all three of you guys.
And
Just,
you
it was
listening.
brilliant
Yes,
basketball. It's 58-58. Tyshawn's on the bench, and you set the great screen. Miguel makes a tough shot, big shot, and Tyree's got it all. I guess you and Miguel probably didn't tell Tyree, hey, we're going to do this. He's just looking for Miguel all the time anyway. Very cool stuff. And you mentioned Nelson Haskin. I think he's a defensive player of the year, real veteran and everything. And that was, back to this versatility. You're down there guarding him. You can guard guards, or you can guard big men. And you were fighting with him in that second half, and the guys on the broadcast were like, we've got a mismatch against Viti. And I was thinking, I don't know. I don't think so. That was a tough matchup.
Yeah, because there was a box play. We ran it, and he fought around and fought over it twice and just kind of said, hey, you're not going to get the ball there. That's part of being an older guy, paying attention to scouting reports. He knows the play's coming, and we took away their initial play, and then it forced a bad possession for them. Yes, I do. Yes.
We're talking about all these winning plays. You're 48. Since you've come to Augusta, the team has played 53 games, and you've won 48 of them. 48-5. Incredible record. Is this kind of like pound for pound at whatever level, whether it be Buford High School in the Atlanta area, Georgia Southern here? Is this the most successful team you've played for?
Well, that's close. Buford, I forgot about that.
Did you guys win state at Buford?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
And I think we only lost 4 games. Yeah. Well, my whole high school career, even when I went to Lambert High School, we only lost probably 3 games when I was there. Yeah. So, I mean, it's getting there. It's a battle between high school and college. But
that's a good.
Yeah, Georgia Southern, we were pretty successful. With Coach Byington there, my first 2 years. So, man, that's a tough one. But yeah. I think we need to cap this off with a national championship, and we can solidify that.
Heck yeah.
That it would be better than a state.
Now, was he on that team that came and played us in the Hurricane?
No, that was Tyshawn's year. That was the year before. So he played 2 years for Mark and then 1 year for the new coach, correct? Because he redshirted the first year and then played a year and then had the COVID year. So I'll go back. When I met with him, he told me what his plan was to come here, finish his undergraduate business degree in December, and work on a master's of teaching, which he's entering the master's of teaching program in the spring semester. And he wants to, at that time, wanted to coach and teach in high school. And what he told me he's going to do is exactly that. He came in here, got his business degree in December, and then started the master's of teaching program. So he's in a completely different program for the next 3 semesters.
Good point about it. So you want to be a coach?
Oh, yeah.
And tell us about your current coaching job.
Well, I'm coaching a real tough group of middle schoolers.
They're good. I saw them
Mary's
beat the mess out of Augusta Christian when you were on the road for a game.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, they're good. We run a lot of coaches' stuff. I've put in so many plays that we just run. Simple stuff, that they can understand. But, shout out my guy Vince. He's our best player. I mean, just through and through. Everybody knows he is. A one-man pressing machine. But no, it's really fun. Me and Coach Rick, we get after it. We try to almost treat them like college guys, at practice. I mean, we'll get on them, and
I used to call Rick Bettino Cundy, because he coached Elizabeth, and Rick's really into it. And when he was looking for somebody, I said, I got the perfect guy, and it's a great lead-in for him to do it. And Rick loves having him on the sidelines, and I think Rick would adjust my practice time to make sure he's at practice. But no, it's great that he's able to do that.
Rick Cundy, head coach of St. Mary's, David Viti, the assistant coach, and you guys have the playoffs coming up, so maybe we'll
Who do you play?
We've got pretty hot lately.
Okay.
It was hard at first because when I first got there, nobody was really bought into competing. You know what I mean? It was tough, but we've got them rolling now.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to, we're trying to, keep them focused at practice every day and lock in and get through drills and stuff like that. Because, we used to do drills for so long trying to, make 20 layups or something. And now we've moved on to, playing 5-on-5 and doing all that kind of stuff. So we're getting hot at the right time. That's the most important part.
If you guys are trying to emulate anything in the sense of being locked in or competing at the level that you do, then watch out. Aiken Augusta Middle School League
Yes.
for St. Mary's.
Who's your biggest competition? Better be careful. People
Probably
hear this.
EDS, right? That's a huge rivalry.
EDS.
St. Mary's and EDS.
EDS was good. And then Westminster wasn't bad, but we beat the brakes off them. Or we should.
You did Augusta Christian too.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and then back to you mentioned. I didn't know you went to Lambert as well as Buford. So Georgia High School Association, GHSA. You've got teammates on the team that played in the GHSA. Pretty sure you ran into them at some point in time down the road. Back in time. Guys around the Peach Belt from the GHSA. It's a strong league, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's crazy. The Brian Coffey over at Clayton State.
Yep.
We used to play against each other all the time. We didn't really know each other, but when I saw him on the court, I was like, I know that guy. I've played against him since I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, well, the guy from Reinhardt, right?
Yeah, the guy from Reinhardt, Jawdat, one of my really good friends. We grew up when we were little kids. And, now I play against him. I've played against him 3 times in my career, which is crazy.
I feel like North Georgia, USC Aiken, all kinds of guys from the GHSA. Richard Crawford from Georgia College. Didn't you come and play Greenbrier one time?
Yes, we did. I remember that. It was just a long bus ride, and we won by 40, and I was like, why did we waste our time coming up here?
Long bus ride, 1 by 40, and I think you dunked it a few times.
I had a couple
telling me that.
dunks, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, year over year, it seems like you're really hitting your stride. I was looking at the stats. Playing 5 more minutes a game, your scoring output's almost doubled. The shooting percentages, 47% from the field, 40% from the 3, and 82% from the free throw line. You feel like you're really hitting your stride?
Yeah, I mean, it's all just, working on my game over the summer. And it's also a new role, because, last year I could score 0 points and we would still win the game, And then you look at the Catawba and the Newberry game and that kind of stuff where, I needed to put the ball in the basket, And, thinking about next year, it's going to be even more, And so, I just try to do what I need to do to help us win, But, with Troy last year, he took a big chunk of the scoring, right? And so now that's kind of me and Darren's role is to fill that,
Troy took a big chunk of shots, too, but that's fine. That was his role. No, he's a great teammate. He really is. And when we talked about the beginning of the year, just keep focused on being a good teammate because it's hard, as you know, Chad, being a guy who took shots, because I saw you when you played. It's hard just being a shooter. And I always say that nowadays. People get infatuated. That cannot be the only thing you do, okay? If it's the only thing you do, which arguably I would say that was his role was at Georgia Southern, if he made the shot, he stayed in the game. If not, he didn't play. And I said, if that's the only thing you do, you're going to come out of the game. And he does. Defensively, he does a great job. He's a great teammate. He's a great communicator. Screens are important to us. Ability to just play hard all the time. But if you go out there and you're a one-trick pony, man, it's hard. It's really, really hard. And people, when you recruit him, he's a great shooter. Okay, you better do something else because if you don't make him, you're not going to play. And it's a hard adjustment for kids, but he's done a great job with it.
We even talked about it before the year, getting to the line more.
Yes.
And I think I've probably shot as many free throws as I did last year already.
Sure have.
And
great point. I actually saw you're 18 out of 22, 82%.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Last
season,
get that up.
Yeah, get that.
You need to get that up?
I told my buddy Brandon, I said I need to be 40, 50, 90 this year. And then he gets on me every time. He said, "You went 0 for 2 from the line." I'm like, "I hit 4-3." No, you went 0 for 2 from the line.
Yeah, I do. And yeah. Okay, can I say the one stat is down? Because I did notice it when his rebound totals are down a little
slightly.
Bit. Okay, which is odd. Okay.
Probably playing the 3 a little
playing
more.
Playing the 3, 4, yeah. His rebound totals are down. Because the year before, we could always count on him getting rebounds. But, he's adapted to it. He's never not rebounded the ball. Sometimes when you're playing the 5, which you get stuck doing sometimes, guarding Nelson Haskins, your job is just to keep
block out.
Yeah, just keep him off the glass and let somebody else run up there and get a rebound. We've got 2 guys in our program that Tyshawn and Kirby, I don't really concern with them blocking out because their ability to go get the ball. But, him and everybody else has got to do it. Darren, as good as a rebounder is, he's a very good blockout guy too. So, I'm nitpicking there, Give you something to yell at him about.
Free throw shooting, came up big. You made 17 out of 18 as a team against Columbus State in the road win. They in the second half.
Yes.
I think 18 out of 22 for the game. They made 5 out of 12 in the second half. We got David I would say the four primary perimeter guys: David, Tyree, Miguel, and Darren, all shooting above 80% from the foul line.
And credit Tyshawn's, his are up as good as they've ever been. So yes, it's.
Well, I think Jaguars is shooting over 80 as well.
We are leading as a free throw percentage. We are leading our conference in free throw percentage. One of my fits of rage one day after practice, the games we've lost are games we've missed free throws. I've got it printed on my little computer. I haven't broke it out yet. It's coming out one of these days because obviously in the national championship game, we shot a bad free throw percentage. In the Columbus loss last year, we shot a bad free throw percentage. In the Lander loss, we shot so I went back through Tyree's whole career, not their freshman year, but boy, their sophomore, junior, and senior year, or 3 years, not so their senior year, our free throws have hurt us. And, there's nothing, they're not going up there trying to miss them, I can tell you that. So it's very, very important to win games. How
do you make it, consistency at the free throw line? To his point, you're not trying to miss. And, you guys are all great shooters, but lots of times great shooters don't make it at the line. Is something you work on every day.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's funny. The Luka Doncic missed a free throw thing.
Yeah. He's like 72% from the line.
Yeah, I tried to get him to do it in practice one day just to see something.
Miss on purpose.
And he did a bad job of missing, so we do something called 72-70. He's the first one shooting a free throw, and now his routine is to miss one on purpose.
I work on it.
Yeah, he works on it every day. Before we start.
You miss it on purpose, and then you have to run for it?
I work on the little, roll it to yourself and then get a quick,
And then you have to run for it?
No.
Okay,
he doesn't count it.
I don't count that one, but I've noticed he's starting that, so it's just fine.
Yeah. Oh, goodness. What? Oh, yeah. Okay, so what I want to do on the closing it out, let's look forward a little bit. We go to Georgia Southwestern Wednesday night, probably right around the time this thing releases. You're 6-0. Is it 6-0?
I don't know. I'm bad with numbers right now.
I think we're 6-0 in Peach Belt play, 15-1 on the season. Yeah, it is 6-0. So preview Georgia Southwestern. Then you come home Saturday for Flagler.
Yeah, we only have two home games in January. Okay, we had Lander and then we have Flagler. Then we go back on the road for two more. And then obviously,
by the way, that next road game Wednesday night, that's at Aiken. So that's kind of like a home game for us.
Yeah.
We travel for that one for sure. But go ahead.
You're right. So and I always say, if you're playing a lot of road games in conference, you're eventually getting them back. So February, we have a bunch of games at home. So, it'll be important to play well down at Georgia Southwestern. It's always a unique environment down there.
Yeah.
I know our players look forward to the harassment they're going to get from their students. And then we've got Flagler at home, which is nice to have a home Saturday game. And, hopefully we'll play well. They really shoot the ball well. We got basically 6 weeks left with 2 weeks. 2 games every week, Wednesday, Saturday, and then you get in your flow. And we practice on Sundays, we take off on Mondays, we practice on Tuesday, play Wednesday, Thursday. We kind of got a routine now that we've got to get into, and because this is really the only time you could do it is really late in the year, and then just finish out these 6 weeks. We got 6 weeks left, 12 games, and 6 weeks is still a long time. You can get better or you can get worse. The guy at Columbus is a good friend of mine. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "Man, you got 6 weeks left. You could easily get yourself back in the top of this league." And ironically, last week on the day we beat Columbus, all 5 road teams won, which is unusual. Every team on the road won the game. So our league is going to still be good. We have a lot of people. Still, we haven't played. We'll be done with Georgia Southwestern tonight. We're done with Columbus. So we're just looking forward to keep getting better.
Yeah, it is amazing how much time is left. You're only 1/3 of the way through the Peach Belt Conference tournament or regular season. Then you've got the Peach Belt Conference tournament. Hopefully NCAA after that.
It's a long stretch, and if I remember correctly, this is about where we started playing pretty good last year, and we lost to Flagler somewhere around mid-January. So we still can improve, and as a coach, we don't want to regress. And our practices have been pretty good for the most part, and it's been challenging. We have more guys in practice. Last year with injuries and Carson and Meach redshirting, we were down to like 10 guys. It was really when Timmy was out, so we didn't really practice late in the year. So, but it's been good. It really has been.
So, David, Coach just mentioned Carson and Meach, so that's Carson Seaman and Dimitri Gardner, 2 redshirt freshmen on the team. So, I said earlier you're the final veteran to be on the show. Those are 2 guys that we do know because they were here last year, just not in uniform. So let's close by getting your opinion on who the first newcomer to the show should be next week.
There we go.
The first new face, if you will. We've got freshman and Chris Britt. We've got Dimitri Gardner, Carson Seaman. Isaiah. I hope I didn't miss anybody, but who should we have on next? Who's got the most engaging personality, just going to captivate our audience?
None of the above. None of the above can captivate an audience. No, but, get Carson Seaman out of my house.
Yes.
Bring him up here.
Yeah.
He's a good kid, good roommate, keeps everything clean, does his dishes, everything.
Yeah, we got the
So I
odd
think he
couple thing
deserves
going, I think, a little bit at times. So that Carson will be a good one. We'll get him up here.
Yeah. Well, I'll have to get his dunk, and but speaking of freshmen, we'll close on this before we tell everybody how to subscribe to the show or whatever. Dimitri Gardner's been playing well.
He has, and he was sick yesterday in practice, but he's been good. He's been he's thrown into a hard role when you're playing with these grizzly old veterans. Like, they expect a lot, and they're not kind to him sometimes on the floor, which is they shouldn't be. And I'm not either, because I got an expectation level. He's in the our top 8 rotation, and I have to really stay on him hard in practice, because there's when you're out there with good players, and if you don't do well, you're going to come out. And but now he's got a chance to be a good player. He's gotten better, and it's a tough role to be a freshman playing with guys that are 23, 22, 24 years old. Tyree will turn 23 on Saturday on his birthday. We were talking about yesterday. We're eating at the house at Martin Luther King Day, and we have a bunch of old guys, and Meach is one of our younger guys, and but he's done a great job. He really has.
That's so true. One last thing will get you, David. When you finish up next year, that'll be, I think, your 6th year out of high school. That's so common now. Everybody's talking about Stetson Bennett, but it's just everywhere because, guys redshirt, or they transfer and they have to sit out, or they got the COVID year back. So that's just everywhere now, right?
It's funny, like, thinking about a guy that came and visited. Coach told me, he's like, "Yeah, this kid's from Buford. Do you know him?" And I'm like, "Man, when I was at Buford, this kid was,
It's like 6th grade,
just getting armpit hair. Like this dude was tiny when I was in high school." So it is a little bit weird, that there's like a new generation basically that I'm playing with. But we make fun of them all the time. Me and Miguel, we're like, "Hey, young guys, pick up the tape off the floor," all that kind of stuff. Just messing with them, because it's kind of fun to be the old guy. Because when I was at Georgia Southern, the old guys were the guys that I look up to and stuff like that. And we were talking about Ike Smith. He was like 29 years old playing college basketball. So I kind of feel what he was going through. With all the the kids talking in the locker room and everything. I'm like, man, I just need some peace and quiet. I feel like the old guy, the angry old neighbor.
It is, Chad. It is odd when you get older. Like, these guys there's 5 or 6 years difference between them. And your interests at 18, 19 when you go to college are completely different when you're 23. I mean, it's, it's odd, but it's true. It's very, very true.
Well, you mentioned recently, it's like the guys want to scrimmage. They want to play 5-on-5 in practice, and it just makes so much sense to me. It's like, hey, I've done a lot of drills, Coach. I know how to play the. I don't know how to deny the.
You'd think we'd know how to do it by now.
Yeah. We didn't know yesterday, but that's a whole. But no, it is. It's different. Coaching veteran group, and we've kind of gotten a routine of how we do it. And I say that once we go to our skill work session, we're going to be live the rest of practice, because they don't need to stand around. The older you get, the more you stand around, the worse it is, because you get stiff. And you don't realize how stiff you get. Older guys, they know. Younger guys can, like a dog, just jump up, take off, and the younger guys need some time to get their body going.
And I think it's very wise of you, David, as you take these years to max out your basketball playing eligibility, getting the master's degree, getting experience in the field that you want to go into. Tyree Myers was a recent guest, and he works in an accounting firm. You're coaching basketball, getting your master's in teaching. Well done.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in to the Dip Mitra Show. Subscribe on YouTube, and thank you to the to Get Up Productions. You can find them at getupproductions.com and at getup.productions on Instagram. That's the group that films, edits, produces, distributes the Dip Mitra Show. We're very grateful. Follow AugustaJags.com, and then on social media at Augusta Jags to keep up with the latest in Augusta University. Also follow the Augusta Press and the Augusta Press Sports. That's where I put all my materials, and I try to keep up with absolutely everything Augusta University basketball. The Jags are away Wednesday night. You can watch them at 7:30 p.m. PBC Sports Network com, and on Saturday, come watch them out. Come check them out. The women tip off at 1:30 against Flagler, and the men at 3:30 against Flagler. And so don't miss the great college basketball action that's right here in our town.